Alright, it's been a while, guys. It's been about a week since I uploaded or anything like that. Mainly because I haven't really been playing For Honor. I played for the first time since Sunday night today, and played for about 4 games before I got off just because I wasn't really feeling it. So I apologize for the lack of uploads and streams recently. Now onto the topic of today's video. So after the update released and I talked about the patch that Ubi dropped on Thursday, I saw an abundance of comments from you guys or people saying that this is it, they're actually done playing For Honor, and that this update has ruined the game for them. I'm not sure how many people will hold true to their words, but they left the comment nonetheless. I did see a few comments show up fairly regularly that I didn't expect to see, and they were all about how they believe that Ubi is actively going out of their way to destroy the game on purpose. So today I just want to talk about a few of the things you guys have been saying for a little while. Today, rather than asking you guys to sub to the channel, I'm asking you to take a second and follow me on Twitter. I've been more active on there recently and want to reach 1,000 followers by the end of August. Now let's not waste any more time and get right into it. Alright, so I was going to upload a video somewhat similar to this one a few days ago while going deeper into topics that we've all talked about a whole lot by now, but I felt it really wouldn't have been fair as I wasn't having a great time on For Honor. Right, I did want to sit down and look at things the way I normally do while all I wanted to do was talk about the negatives. I don't like to do that. I like to give credit where credit is due, and I'd be a flat out liar if I said I didn't like everything that's going on in this patch. Also, I apologize for any noise in the background. There's like construction going on outside. Now, as for the statement as to whether or not Ubi is actively trying to kill the game, it doesn't really hold to me. These particular people believe that Ubi pushed this update to ruin the game for as many people as possible so that they would stop playing and Ubi could move on to work on something else. This is not the case. If Ubi wanted to get people to stop playing the game or wanted to work on something else, they would simply move on to something else. They'd stop working on the game outright and leave it in whatever state it was left in last. I don't see why they would put the time and effort into actively destroying the game, on purpose anyways, and destroy any sort of faith the community had. Say they did want to work on a sequel or another game, why would they want the last thing their players remember or talk about was how awful their final few updates were? They'd want the exact opposite, you'd think, so that players head into the next game with some goodwill and fond memories of their previous title. I can't really see any developer actively trying to tank their player base to move on to another game or to work on something else. We've seen live service games going on for quite some time now, and when they end, the devs usually announce that they are finished working on the game and leave it as is for a while, or they announce that they're going to shut down the servers or something like that. And I don't think it'll be any different with For Honor. I'm not sure how they'll come out and let us know when it's the end. I'm not sure if they'll come out and say, hey, this is the final year, or hey, this is the final season, or if they'll ever come out and say anything until they reveal another game. But I know they wouldn't start the process by intentionally releasing an update that would get people to turn their back on the studio and, as I said, leave any ill will. I think the reason a lot of people feel the way they do is because of the changes that are seen as negative, that are on top of, you know, the time we had to wait for these changes, and on top of how good the testing grounds felt, and on top of all the other problems the game still has. I know for me personally, when I wasn't having fun with the game, it was really easy for me to just compound the problems in my head and make me not want to play. I look back at the testing grounds, especially the second week, and wonder why they didn't just take that and improve upon that. As I said in my last video, I thought that the general consensus was pretty positive. I thought that a lot of people agreed that the testing grounds were good, the changes were nice, and that if they could just fix a few things, improve on some issues, work on the damage numbers, and take a serious long look at feats and work on other things, we'd be in store for a game that felt great. But instead we got what we got, and while everything isn't bad, there's still plenty here that doesn't feel good. And I think to curb some of these frustrations that a lot of us are having, we need some confirmation on more changes than just this most recent patch, which in itself didn't include a whole lot. You stack that on top of things like Warmonger's feats, which have made something like Dominion much less enjoyable and have no sort of nerf in sight that we know of. It just leaves a somewhat sour feeling. I do, however, like the feeling of the faster offense, and I like the advantage or turn system we've got going on top of it. It does feel good when it's working. I just feel like it will work so much better if fights lasted longer. You know, we'd have more time to read our opponents and whatnot. I still feel like a lot of attacks deal way too much damage and you still die too quickly. You can't really read your opponent or get to know them to make a read if fights end so quickly. I feel like you can still incentivize chain offense without having chain heavies and whatnot deal as much damage as they do. You can still end up getting bashed and eat a lot of damage if your opponents know what they're doing. If you end up on the ground, you're going to eat, you know, a shit ton of damage, just stuff like that. I'm not going to go into everything, and I feel like damage is something that can be fixed relatively quickly. A few people are also saying that they want console players to just stop playing for some reason, they being Ubi, so that they can focus on PC, which really doesn't make sense to me. I'm pretty sure we all know that a majority of players play on console. The argument is that this update was used to promote light spam and make everyone unhappy and whatnot, which I don't really think is the case. No matter what, there are going to be some people who talk about light spam. No matter what changes go down, Ubi has made it very clear that light spam is something that they wanted to tackle. It's something that they want you to know, they want me to know, they want people that don't even play this game to know that light spam is something they are keeping an eye on and is something that they're going to look at. And that they've been working on ways to make it less annoying for people. You know, being able to dodge out of, you know, lights, or increasing the amount of stamina lights consume, leaning towards turn-based offense, you know, things like that. I've been saying this for a while now, that this is an approach that I wish they didn't focus on so much when addressing changes, as I believe that even if you made a ton of changes and nerfed lights to all hell, that the people constantly complaining about light spam will continue to complain, not about issues the game faces as a whole, but rather whatever they most recently died to or lose to consistently. You slow down light attacks, they'll talk about how often people are parrying them. You lower the damage, they'll still get hit. You do nothing, they'll talk about how they're catering to a different set of players. Stuff like that. That's not the people who have genuine criticisms, but the people who don't really know what they want from the game, or don't know what changes they really want. I think that Ubi should have addressed things differently. I think they should have come out and said, okay, we hear that you're having issues with light attacks, here are some ways that you can deal with it. Anyways, that's all I've got for this video. I just wanted to talk about the game for a little bit and answer that question since it's been a while. Again, sorry that I've been inactive for a bit. I just didn't want to upload anything about the game if I wasn't playing it. We've got a few things coming up in 5 days. On the 20th, Warmonger will be available to everyone for 15,000 steel. There's also going to be another set of content coming to the game. This week we got the 200 IQ effect, which is pretty nice. I like it. So who knows what we're going to get this Thursday. Then on the 27th, the Right of Champions throwback is returning. And since we're getting rewards for the event, I'm really hoping that we get the Radiance effect. And lastly, on the 28th, there's an extra loot fest that'll go on until the end of the throwback event on September 3rd. As always, I do want to know what you guys think, so be sure to talk to me down in the comments about anything we talked about in this video. And as always, if you liked the video, feel free to leave a like and sub if you're new, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video.